should do like a hair flip at the beginning of it.
Perfect. I'm putting that in there.
Hi. Okay. All right. Here we go. Hi, I'm Alyssa. This is my lovely model for today. Her name is Shelby. Shelby's hair is very long. I know you can't really see it all the way to the bottom in the video, but her hair goes to her butt. Her hair is more on the fine to medium coarseness or texture to her hair. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna brush her hair, make sure all of her knots are out. And then from there, the first thing that I like to do is I always like to throw in dry shampoo. I usually put dry shampoo in everyone's hair because it's always helpful for that extra little bit of lift in the hair. So my main focus is going to be in this area here in the crown and in the front, especially the front because they're going to be touching their hair a lot and I feel like it gets really oily very quickly. So we're just going to hit all of her rooted area. I am using Moroccanoil dry shampoo. And then from there, if they end up having a lot of spots in their hair that are really light from the dry shampoo, as like that. From there, I would use the palm of my hand, not necessarily my fingers, and I would just kind of go through and just rub it in. Your fingertips hold a lot of oil, so from there, if you go in and you use your fingertips, all you're doing is adding more oil into the scalp, which defeats the whole point in putting in the dry shampoo. From there, I'm gonna go in with a heat protectant. Yet again, my favorite is Moroccanoil, their heat protectant. I'm gonna spray this from not up against the root, pretty close to the root and all the way down to the ends, throughout the entire head. Always start on the rooted area first. And then from there, spray it through the ends. So her hair is already starting to get a little bit of texture in it just from those two products. So from there, I will go in with the textured spray. Yet again, Moroccanoil. I will go through her whole bottom of her head and just throw in some textured spray. I have found that if I am out of textured spray, I can always go in with a textured powder or the little puff ones and just spray a little bit throughout the ends. The textured powder, you would only need a little bit of that compared to the textured spray. The powder is a little more intense. Going back through, brushing out some of the knots that we have formed. If their hair is really frizzy, which most of the time it is usually closer to the ends of their hair, I do go in with a anti-frizz cream. And then for her, I am just going to put just a smidge on her ends because her ends are a little dry. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this on her ends, just to smooth out any frizz that she may have. If they have frizz on their root area, it would be a good way to just go ahead and put a little bit on your hands, warm it up, and then just run it through with your fingers over the roots. You don't want to put too much on the root because then yet again, it will make it look very oily. Like I said, Shelby has pretty normal hair. If you had someone that sits in your chair and they have platinum blonde hair, they're gonna have way more texture in their hair compared to Shelby. So for them, I would actually probably skip over the textured spray. Now I'm gonna section her hair off into 3 sections to start the curling process. I'm gonna take the top of the head down to the back of the ear on one side, get it out of her face, clip it off. Same thing on the other side, up high, behind the ear. And then now I'm going to do the bottom section. Take out probably about, with Shelby's hair texture and her hair type, I would probably take about an inch of hair. From here I'm going to use my working spray by Aquage. I'm going to show you just what I would do if she was going to wear her hair down for today. So I'm just going to spray it all the way through, It is a little wet. From here, I'm gonna brush it out, kind of flick it a little bit to try and dry it before putting that heat up to it. Her hair is now dry. 1-inch curling iron, not a huge section, something pretty small. So from here, I'm gonna put her hair in my curling iron. I'm starting pretty far up because I really wanna make sure that we smooth out these roots first. The worst thing about curls would be frizzy curls, and we do not want frizzy curls. I leave the bottom of her hair out. The next piece that I'm gonna go into, I'm actually gonna alternate my curls. So I'm gonna do this one going away from the face. The next one is gonna go towards the face. Starting at the root, dragging it down. I try not to ever have my curling iron just sitting on a section of hair for a very long time. I'm constantly moving it. I do not want to burn her hair. Leaving out the tips. I do like to fluff or shake my curls just because they're really hot, and as they cool, they are gonna set. So if I just kind of fluff them a little bit, it's gonna help push out some of that heat and start cooling it. As it cools, it sets the curl. Same thing at the root, pulling it down. Never letting it sit too long on one spot. Leaving out the tail. Fluffing it, letting it cool down. If their roots are very frizzy, if you want to tame those a little bit, straighten those out, use your curling iron, hit that root area and pull it straight. And then from there you can go back and start curling it. From there, I have, I just throw a little bit of a hairspray, not too hard of a hold. This is the Kenra, the volume spray. I just hit it one little time and I move on to the rest of it. I don't usually touch any of this until I get about halfway up the head. From there, if they're wearing their hair down and their curls are too tight, you can go through and just grab the curls and fluff them. Or you can use your comb and kind of just brush through it a little bit to form a little bit of a softer curl. So now that we have curled the whole bottom section here, I've gone in with my hairspray, a little bit of hairspray throughout the whole each section, making sure that it has something kind of holding them together. I don't want them to be too crispy, so I wouldn't go in with a mega hairspray or anything just yet. So now that we have done all of that, we're on to this part right here where we're kind of in this crown area. Take my little section. I go in with my powder, textured powder of any sort. I over direct the hair just to get it out of my way so that when I do put the powder, it's not starting way up here or anything like that. It's not messy. So I just flip the hair over right about an inch up from the root down. I'm just adding a little bit of that powder in there to start forming her tees. You want most of your tees to be right up against the root. You don't want it to be up into the mid shaft of the hair. So I'm gonna start about 2 inches up and I'm gonna just push that hair down. Don't be afraid to push it down. Don't hurt your client, but you wanna make sure that that tease is locked in place. You don't want it to slide out later. So from here, I'm just going to start pushing that hair down. And it is pretty locked in on that root. As I'm going through and teasing, I am brushing out the rest of the hair so that we aren't creating knots. And then from there, I'm just gonna lay it over and do that whole section. About 2 inches up, pushing it down, pushing it all the way down and making sure it is up against that root, brushing the rest of the hair out and re-pushing down the hair. From here, you can grab both sides of them and start flaring them out some. It is going to round that out to give them that more of a natural way the hair is going to lay than it to just be all stuck in one spot draping down the back. From there I will use my working spray. Spray it onto the hair, make sure it's dry, brushing it out just a little bit. Not up against the root because we do not want to take out any of that tease. If you want to really seal in your tease, you can clamp it with heat, and when you clamp it with the heat, it locks in all of that tease where it shouldn't really move at all. And then just go from there and making sure you're curling all the hair, the going back and forth with the curl pattern, keeping it all the same as the bottom. I am going to do this step all the way up until I get to the top of the hair. Doing everything the exact same way except for that last layer. I'm going to do a little bit of a tease, nothing too crazy, and lay it on top. So now I'm on the very last section that's going to be on top. And yet again with my texture powder. And then my working spray. Kind of just spray that. I'm going to go ahead and tease this area. This area is going to be seen from the front of your client's head. We want to make sure that this area is very clean. So in order to achieve that, all we would do is we would go in with a little bit of tease. I wouldn't push your comb all the way through the hair and then start forming the tease, because from there you will see it from the front. So whenever you go to tease this area, you would just use your comb just a little bit into the hair and pushing down on that textured powder and locking in that tease. You can over direct this hair still. She already has a good bit of volume now, and I don't want to do anything too crazy, but you can over direct it and do the same thing. It's going to create a little more volume in that area if you needed it. I just teased the hair. Turn your head to the side. I will grab this hair here and I flare it out. Yet again, you don't want it to be directly behind her head because it's not flattering for the eyes once you see it from the front. And then I am going to go ahead and finish curling out that section. I've already sprayed my working spray. It is fully dry. So we are adding curls to this last section, and the back will be fully prepped. So I've just finished prepping all of Shelby's hair in the back. From here, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did in the back that I'm going to do on the front. So I'm going to take my small section, take the rest of the hair, clip it up out of the way. From here, I will spray my working spray on here, make sure it's fully dry, and curl this piece here. On these front sections, I am going to curl all the hair away from the face. Unless they want their hair curled towards their face, but majority of the time it's always going to go away from the face. Same thing, starting with the root area, pulling it, not putting too much heat on one spot, dropping it, fluffing it. Make sure we get all the little baby hairs. So we want to make sure that all the hair is nice and smooth. If you have to use a flat iron first, if their roots are very curly, you can hit it with a flat iron first and then go in and curl the rest of the hair. Shelby does not have ridiculous curls around her face, not even really bad frizz or even too many baby hairs, so her hair is perfect for just being able to curl it. Same technique all the way up until we get closer to her hairline. Shelby has a pretty deep hairline. It goes pretty far over, which is fine. If their hair is parted down the middle, this part is a little bit different, but it's pretty much all good. You're going to prep the hair the same exact way. So I'm going to actually go ahead and finish curling up her hair up until about, I would say about an inch of hair that's left until you get to her part. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. And now I'm going to show you how to curl the front pieces around the face. I do those a little bit different. I left a little piece out here just to show you. I'm going to have Shelby turn her head just a little bit. This is what it would look like once you're done. I'm going to clamp it. I'm going to start the twist, hold it, and from there I'm just taking that twist right out. I'm just pulling it under, and then the ends of the hair, I'm pulling it straight down. You're getting more of a wave instead of an actual full-blown curl. If they want it to be more curl, hold it a little bit longer, holding it on there still, and kind of pulling on that end a little bit. So she is getting more of a curl. I have about an inch left of hair right on top before we get to her part. I'm going to add just a little bit of lift right into here. So I am going in with my texture powder, just a little bit right on the root. My working spray. I'm going to brush it out. And I'm just going to create a little bit of a tease right here. Nothing too crazy. Just a little bit of a lift where their hair is not laying right up against their head. Got a little bit of it, pulling it down. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to just kind of bring her bangs out some. Now I'm going to finish out that curl. On these back curls, doing the curls away from the face. So for the bang, I'm going to come over on this side. So I usually will over direct the hair to give it that lift up in the front. So this hair here, I'm going to pull this away from her face. And I'm going to start my curl here and pull it towards myself as I curl. Unwind. And then pull the tail. I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on her other side. The same with barely putting a little tease right where, about an inch away from where her part is at. And then from there, I will show you the finished product. Now I have her whole head prepped. So from here, I'm just gonna get, I have this comb, which has the prongs on it on here. So I'm not brushing through the curls at all. The bottom of them, I'm okay if those are a little bit, the ones all the way underneath. If those are a little bit tighter, because those will probably be the first ones to start falling because we started with those so early. I'm just gonna go through and grab some of these curls. All I'm doing is kind of pulling them apart a little bit. You can also use your fingers. Your fingers are a good tool. If their hair is like extremely curled, I would probably use my fingers to go in and smooth it out. So laying down all the frizz on top, using the back of my comb to help lay the hair down. From here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to kind of use that wide tooth comb and just go right over and untangle them. From here, I'm starting to form the hair into the place that it's going to fall, or where we would take the hair and start prepping it into doing some sort of half up, half down. But for now, I'm just going to show you just brushing it out a little bit. We have a little bit of volume going on in this area, nothing too crazy, just kind of fluffing them. Making sure that there is no parts kind of going on here. You're just going to use the same thing back of the comb. Just kind of brush it, form it. She's got her volume going on back here. And this would be how I would prep the hair to either going into an updo if it requires curls, forming it into a half up, half down. So Shelby is ready to take on her day now. So